Marshall Mathers IV here. I just want to pay my respects and give my condolences to Kenneka Jenkins' family and to just say rest in peace. And I can't believe something like that could happen to anyone. No one deserves to die like that. No one. No one at all. And I mean, I feel like she of all people did not deserve that whatsoever. And this video is not for attention, it's not for views or anything like that. I am simply making this video because I truly feel this way deep down inside, and I wanted to make a very sincere video. And I mean, it does definitely have to do with the previous two videos that I made before this one about why I wish I would have been raised in the ghetto or the hood or whatever, and why I wish I would have been born in that sort of environment and lifestyle. And, you know, in all honesty, I wish I could have had the chance and opportunity to have not only dated Kenneka Jenkins, but also have married her eventually. And I don't want to come off as disrespectful or anything like that, and I hope this video doesn't come off as that either. But I mean that straight up. No bullshit. I mean, I wish I could have had that chance at least. And the only way I feel like that would have even been possible is if I would have been born and raised in Chicago, or at least raised since a child in the same exact area of Chicago that Kenneka Jenkins was herself. And I also mean when I say this that, in my opinion, I think she's the most, well, she was the most beautiful girl in the world. And not only that, but cute. I mean, I've seen and also heard some old recordings and audio of her, and in that case have heard and know what her voice sounded like. And I think it was really cute. And every time I listen to her voice or hear any audio or old recording from her or of her, it does break my heart. And it does make my heart ache in deep pain. Like I can literally feel my heart breaking, and I always tear up eventually the more I think about her and what happened, and the more videos that I keep watching about her, about the case and whatnot. It does kind of give me a headache, because it's just such a tragic case, and it's a death that was not only easily preventable, but it's a death that should have never happened. And I personally cannot believe that someone as beautiful as her, and also cute as her, had such a just horrific thing happen to her. And again, she did not deserve it. And I wish she would have had better friends who actually would have cared about her and loved her and were loyal to her and always stayed by her side. Always made sure she was safe and never left her side. Always had her next to them where they could see her, to always keep an eye on her and just always make sure she was protected and would get home safe or whatever. And I do feel like her friends were not that. I feel like her friends were, if anything, jealous and envious of her because of her looks, because of her smile and the amount of attention she was getting just for her smile alone, and her body. I definitely sense that her friends, or her so-called friends that is, were in fact jealous and envious of her and didn't actually care about her or love her or anything like that. And if anything, deep down inside hated her. And there were many times that they would kind of show their true emotion or true self to her, and they would slip up sometimes, and even just by their facial expression alone, it would say it all right there that they wanted the attention she was getting. They wanted her looks. They wanted the same body. They wanted the same smile and everything. To put it simple, they wanted to be her. And I feel like they wanted to just take her out so they could be the center of attention then, with her out of the picture. And I just think it's sickening. And it's just so heartbreaking and crushing that something like that would happen to someone's daughter. And I mean, it's just such an unfair, unjust death and case. And of course the police didn't do anything and didn't really investigate it all that well. And I wouldn't be surprised if the police have something to do with it, or at least maybe they're covering it up, because it's like they just totally swept it under the rug. But what I want to talk about in this video also that I am making is that I wish I would have had the chance and opportunity to have been born and raised, or at least definitely raised since I was a kid and since I was a child, in Rosemont, Illinois. I think, if I'm correct, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the area that she was born and raised in, or at least raised in. And, you know, like I said before, the only way I would have even had a chance at even knowing her personally, in person, and interacting with her, is if I would have been raised in the same area, brought up in the same area. If I would have gone to the same elementary schools, middle schools, high school, or whatever. And I mean, I think that would have been just such an awesome, great opportunity, because unlike pretty much all of her other friends, I would have cared about her. I would have loved her and respected her to the fullest possible extent, and I would have never left her side for any reason at all. I would have always made sure that she was safe, even more than myself. I would have looked out for her way more than I would have my own self. And if she ever went anywhere, I would always tag along with her, just to be sure, just to be safe that nothing bad would happen to her. And I would have loved to be the first guy to even date her and eventually marry her. And when I would marry her, about the age or time that I would also get into trade school and have learned a skill or some shit to make lots of money, so that way I could have even moved out of that state to a much safer place. Not necessarily a country or an all-white city or anything like that, but just a better city, or at least a less worse and less dangerous one than Chicago is. And, you know, to be honest, I don't know what she would have thought about me if we did know each other in person, if we knew each other really well, if we had gone to the same elementary school, middle school, and high school. I don't know what she would have thought about me. So I'm not obviously going to assume anything or make up assumptions or anything like that, because that would just be ridiculous when I have no proof or evidence that she would have even liked me or what she would have thought about me. But I mean, I would try to make it obvious that I did like her or even love her. And what crushes me, what tears me apart inside, and what even makes me upset and disappointed is the fact that I never even at least knew her through social media. And it just shocks me and surprises me that I didn't even know who she was before this case. And I didn't even find out about it until recently because of this one YouTuber's channel who was recommended for me, who does like a lot of videos about missing people cases or death cases or scary pictures or whatever. I mean, he has a really interesting channel, so I watched it 'cause it was recommended for me. And it was only because of that last month that I found out about her and the case surrounding her death and whatnot. And I mean, there's just something really eerie about it and mysterious, because nobody really knows the truth. Nobody knows actually for real what happened to her or what could have happened to her. And at least there would have been a better chance of her maybe liking me if I would have actually personally knew her. And just maybe I would have even had the chance of like hanging out with her and whatnot, which would be really awesome. And I mean, I would enjoy and appreciate every moment that I would have possibly ever had with her. And I mean, I even feel like we have some things in common. Like, I've seen a lot of people say that that the way she talked was slow, or that people couldn't understand her and what she was saying or whatever. And I saw this guy respond to people saying kind of judgmental stuff like that about her, and he responded with, she had trouble hearing out of one ear, and so if anything she was partially deaf in one ear, so she had some problems with one of her ears. Well, I have problems with both of my ears, and that we definitely have in common. And I mean, it does piss me off about myself that I did not know about her, especially knowing that I had this phone that I'm using to make this video since very late 2016, at the very beginning of 2017. And I had like set up a social media and all that shit very soon and early. And like in 2017, I was going through all these like social media apps trying to find these girls who were like super attractive, even though I myself don't think I'm that attractive or handsome or anything like that. But it just makes me upset and disappointed with myself that I didn't stumble upon her account somehow, some way. But what would have been better than that is, of course, if I would have actually known her in person, and if we would have, say, grown up together in the same area, if we would have gone to the same schools. I just think that would be cool as fuck, or that would have been. And it crushes me, and it really does upset and disappoint me that I didn't get that chance. I did not get that opportunity. That was once in a lifetime opportunity and chance too. And I did not get that experience. I did not have the chance or opportunity to have been brought up and raised in the same sort of environment that she was herself. In the same state, same area and place and all that. And I mean, I just think it would have even been pretty cool and interesting if I would have even been one of her neighbors or something. I mean, I just think that would have been awesome. But obviously, I never got that chance because of the kind of family I was born into and the kind of environment and lifestyle that I was brought up in that was against my will and against my choice and decision. Not that I really had this sort of mind to decide things or to make choices about certain things. I was fine with whatever. But when I got older as a teenager, that's when I started having a more so advanced mind where I was like, man, I wish I would have been raised in the ghetto. I wish I would have been raised in the hood. I wish I would have had that chance and opportunity. I wish I would have had that experience. I mean, how cool that would have been. How different that would have been instead of the lifestyle that I did have growing up instead. And the environment that I did grow up in. And again, I don't know if she would have liked me. I don't know what she would have thought about me. I don't even know if we would have even been friends. Not even that. I don't know. So again, I do not want to assume anything or anything like that, but all I'm saying is that I wish I would have had the chance and opportunity of knowing her and interacting with her in person, talking to her, and I mean doing stuff and crossing paths or whatever. And I mean, if I would have known her, I would have tried to be one of the biggest supporters in her life. And if anything, I'm not saying that I would have, but maybe would have replaced her so-called friends who really did not look out for her, who did not want what was best for her, who did not seem to really care about her or love her or always watch out for her and whatnot and make sure she was safe and respect her. And she also definitely didn't seem to really have any loyal friends. I mean, not a single one. And, you know, some people will say that, I mean, she wasn't that good of a person, or that she wasn't innocent, or that she wasn't an angel or whatever. But the truth of the matter of fact is, only God knows that. Only God could know how her soul was, or how she was on the inside, underneath all that hardened ghetto part of her. Because anyone, I don't care who you are or what your race is, anyone who grows up in the ghetto, anyone who's born in the ghetto and raised and brought up in that environment and lifestyle would be hardened. They would use a lot of profanity. They would carry weapons to protect and defend themselves or their loved ones. They would sleep with guns or knives under their pillows. They would always be cautious and aware of their surroundings and alert at all times, and always watching their back wherever they would go, because it's such a dangerous environment and lifestyle to be raised in, no matter who you are or what your race is. That has nothing to do with it. And obviously it's going to make you hard, and it's going to make you act a certain way, behave a certain way, dress a certain way, talk a certain way. And I feel deeply that she was a good person. And one of the reasons why I say that and feel that way personally, in my own opinion, is because prior to her death, a tragic death, she had gotten a job, or she was about to get a job working at a nursing home. And not many people want to do those jobs, especially young people. I mean, it's a very hard and difficult job where you have to care for old people and clean up after them and help them and whatnot. And the only people who I could ever think of doing something like that or desiring to get in that sort of profession or whatever are good people, or would be good people, especially if they're young. I feel like that's very rare. And so I think deep down inside, I think she was a good, innocent person. And I mean, one thing that also makes her case just so tragic and heartbreaking is the fact that when you watch any old footage of Kenneka Jenkins on YouTube or whatever, she was a very happy person, a very joyful, full of life, just always cheerful person. She appreciated even the small little moments in her life. She just seemed always happy. I mean, in every video that I've seen her, she was always happy, always joyful, always full of life, always cheerful. And I feel definitely that that's also a very rare thing, especially for a young person. When you think of most young people, at least I myself do, I think of young people who are depressed or brokenhearted or crushed or torn apart on the inside, are way more emotional and more so damaged or sad or whatever. But she herself was so full of life, and I think no matter what, she would have been a great mom and a great wife. And I mean, she would have been just a great person all around. And I don't care what anyone says, that's my honest personal opinion about this matter. And I mean, again, I wish I would have had the chance at being the lucky one to have married her. And if I would have been in her life, and if I would have known her and whatnot, I would not have let her die. Not on my watch. I would have gone to her, to that wretched hotel that should be like fucking blown to the ground or some shit, or just I don't know, it just should be teared to the ground. And her mom should definitely get and win the $50 million lawsuit. And it's only fair because they didn't do a good job at protecting her daughter and keeping her safe and keeping an eye on her. And the hotel especially should have done that, but they didn't. They did a shitty job. And if I would have been there, I would not have let her die. I would have been right by her side the whole time, and if I would have saw anyone trying to harm her, I would have went fucking crazy on them. I would have went wild as shit and just started beating anyone who would have tried to harm, especially girls, especially if they were a guy. I would lose it and just go haywire on anyone who would have tried to hurt her. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this video. I'm out.